WRKS Pickens Jackson.
Hey, what do you say we sing a driving song?
There's not going to be any singing around here. Just
real sports.
On the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly.
Oh, this is going to be sweet.
And it's all right here, right now on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
th day of February 2024. Welcome in. Champ of the Chair Sports Maven on a Wednesday. Wims Wednesday. Wims Winners Wednesday. We'll give a winner. We'll throw it out there. Go to AmeriStarCasino.com, grab the bet builder, and get in and play. Hey, you can always text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text line. Make your house a home today. CowboyMaloney's.com. A lot of great deals, a lot of good stuff at Cowboy Maloney's. Make sure that you check it out on the website. One of 13 locations. Go in and see everything to make your house a home at Cowboy Maloney's. 601-897-1059. That is the Malone Roofing caller line. ecmalone.com is their website. 8337-MALONE. Commercial, residential roofing done right with Malone Roofing Services. We're also on X at Jake Wim. 2 locations for Clinton Body Shop. Clinton and Richland, OEM factory certified. All the manufacturers you trust at Clinton Body Shop. We'll have Michael Bratton, that SEC podcast at 3:30. Adam Johson, 4:15 on basketball. We'll have the games tomorrow, games on Friday. No show tomorrow. I'm going to give you the time off. That way you can go to Costco and get some hamburgers. Would you like for me to buy you some hamburgers tomorrow? Would that help for the weekend long? Like just feed you while you're going to be here working? I mean, because you're going to work harder. Look, you're going to work harder than anybody that is on these broadcasts this coming week.
Bill.
Is he though?
He's got to be there all day.
Because you know how this goes with Bill. If Bill does not find the hospitality suite quickly, Bill is going to burn the whole thing down. He'll be angry.
Yeah. Wait a minute. So it is a trade-off. I can't take the hardest working spot. That's definitely Bill. He's got to be there. At least I've got someone doing 2 games on Friday. So I'll only be running games for like 23 hours instead of 24 hours. Bill's got to be there all day, but he does get the free food. I don't get that. Back to these hamburgers you're offering. What are we speaking of?
Well, I was just going to offer to bring you some food tomorrow, before I head out over there, because you're going to be up here, getting up here. I can leave it here, go buy you whatever.
Whatever.
I mean, well, not whatever, but you know what I'm saying.
No, already said it.
Not like a buggy full of food from Costco. Hey, did your other guy drop out? Are we not? You just have one guy helping you for 2 hours and that's it?
No, I got one. The weirdo is doing the final 2 games Friday night, and Sam Brown's doing the final 2 games Saturday night.
So this weirdo you speak of is only giving you 2 games? That is it?
No, I think he's doing one on Saturday, too. I forgot about that.
Okay. Glad to see that they are trying to give you a little break. So we'll get you fed. Let's see. Rafael Esparza at 4:30. You didn't watch this Mississippi State basketball game last night, did you? You missed a heck of a game. And boy, I tell you what, Mississippi State right there. I know you guys have looked at it and talked about it a lot already, but Josh Hubbard, with the performance he had last night, was something to behold. You look at Mississippi State, big lead at half, just could not hold on. Hubbard hits the 3 to tie it up with about 8 seconds to go, and then Reed Sheppard with the sweet shot to win it. And you look at Reed Sheppard when he came to Kentucky, as Joe Tipton, who covers Kentucky sports for On3, says, I spoke to Kentucky freshman Reed Sheppard prior to his enrollment at Kentucky and asked him what he expected his role to be in his first year. Quote, whatever I need to really do, he said, I'll do. If I need to go get water, I'll go get water. If I need to go in and make a shot, I'll go in and make a shot. It's the kind of mentality you got to have. And look, he really came in, and that Kentucky team is going to go have a chance to go deep in the tournament. And look, Mississippi State, to their credit, they played really, really good. really big atmosphere, and they'll be right there. I mean, Mississippi State's going to be fine getting in the tournament. It's just where are they going to be, and what does that look like? So several things we'll get into. Kind of looking ahead in the basketball weekend. Obviously, you got the MHSAA championships Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the Coliseum. We'll have Mr. and Mrs. Basketball next week. But you also got the NFL Combine. Several things out there. I want to get into some of these Big Ten records by Brad Crawford in football. Props to Josh Hubbard. He tweeted out a photo somebody had took of him and Shepard kind of looking at each other on the court. Said a lot of respect for U15 with a handshake emoji. Let's see here. Real unnamed texter. I don't know what he speaks of. Wow, that was a long fall. I'm okay. I decided to dust myself off and climb it back up. What did I miss? What did he fall off of? A ladder?
The ledge. Mississippi State baseball ledge.
Oh, yeah, because what was the final of that game?
19-6.
Okay.
So, what he speaks of he's been on the ledge many, many times over the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And last week, after that second loss to Austin Peay, I appreciate this. It was after hours, as we'll say, 9:22 p.m., because I didn't see it till I walked in the next day. He just texted, jumped. And I sent him an RIP, but he didn't meet demise. So that's what he speaks of. He's getting back up.
Well, that's good. We're glad that he's back up, and we'll see what happens this weekend. Western Kentucky linebacker coach Jamar Chaney played at Mississippi State, named the inside linebackers coach at Baylor, so he moves over to Baylor. Lance Leopold, the head football coach at Kansas State, signs an amended contract with Kansas, increasing his pay to $7 million annually. Contract through 2030. Can you believe that? The head football coach at Kansas makes $7 million to be a 6-6 or 7-5 team. Isn't that crazy? You remember a couple years ago we were talking about Kansas before, when Kansas was winning 1 and 2 ball games, they put like $300 million into their football stuff. I mean, Kansas wants to play football. They're building facilities, they're paying coaches, they're doing everything that they need to do. Maryland, which is a really nice team, adds home games with Florida Atlantic in 25 and Hampton in 26, if you care. Courtesy of Ross Dellinger, leaders are exploring starting bowls. And we'll get into this story. A week earlier in college football playoff, officials are re-examining how to treat the Army-Navy game. An examined college football playoff, or expanded college football playoff, puts at risk the future of, quote, America's game as a standalone event and its relevancy in the college football playoff selection. Quote, we are not moving the game. Surely to goodness, the powers in college football will at least respect the Army-Navy game. Will they?
They don't give me much faith that they will.
That is true. And, boy, we got you all kinds of stuff today. I got a piece yesterday on J.J. McCarthy I didn't get to. We will. Also, Dan Wetzel, fair or unfair, every NFL draft cycle has one player, usually a quarterback, gets run through the ringer of debate. J.J. McCarthy is that guy this year. And he might be able to he may be able to uniquely handle all of it. So the J.J. McCarthy machine is here. It is officially here. Combine week. The pieces are coming out left and right. I've got one mock draft that has J.J. McCarthy as the next Tom Brady for New England. I told you, this thing's fixing to go off just bam. You better get in while you can. You better get that Patriots jersey. TB12 2.0. Can he do that? Can he go TB12 2.0?
Like, what, create his nickname as that? Is that what you're saying?
Like, yeah, he's the
or
next...
Or can he be the next Tom Brady?
Yeah, I mean, all he's missing, and he's kind of already gotten it, is a ringing endorsement from Brady himself. I mean, you got to think Tom Brady looks at this young man like his son, right?
Does he?
Maybe.
Does Tom Brady care about this man? I wouldn't if I was Tom Brady.
I mean, when the whole Jim Harbaugh thing went down and he got suspended during the season, McCarthy tweeted about it, and Brady retweeted and showed a lot of love and, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Look, publicly, if asked about this, and I'm sure he will because the Michigan connection, he'll probably get asked about it. You know Tom Brady. He will say 100% just the nicest things, politically correct guy. But if someone does mention to him that there's a comparison in his brain, secretly, he's thinking, he's dropping a huge on that, and he's saying, that's cute.
You could be right. You know, old quarterbacks are like, they're like, kind of like alligators. You know, alligators will sometimes eat their own eggs. And sometimes, do you think they want these young quarterbacks to come up and be better than them? No, they'll eat them. If they can, they will eat them. We're brought to you by Cowboy Maloney, 70 years in the business, Mississippi owned and operated, largest appliance inventory in the state. Texas 601-885-3776. Michael Bratton coming up in 20 minutes.
This is the home of the Chuck Oliver Show every weekday from 10 till noon on Mississippi's live and local sports authority. And where? We're back to Jake Quiverly with the afternoon drive on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by BCI. Go to bcipeople.com, 601-427-4185. Begin your protection plan today with BCI. Been around for a long time, helped a lot of businesses in the state of Mississippi and the Southeast. Let them help yours as well, big or small. Michael Bratton talking SEC football in the next segment. You can text us 601-885-3776. That is the Cowboy Maloney's text line. Also, we're brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get out and play. All right. Bridget Condon, who covers the National Football League, says, I am told Jaden Daniels is a guy Bill Belichick loved when he was in New England. Top of their draft board. But obviously him being gone is Gerard Mayo in love with him too. So again, with the Combine here, were you watching any of this? The Combine?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the Combine here, a lot of speculation you're going to hear over and over again about this quarterback to this team, this quarterback to that team, all kinds of stuff. Also, it feels like the Arizona Cardinals are on a propaganda tour for Kyler Murray. No question. Kyler Murray's our guy. This is a testament to how far he's come and how much he's grown up. Do we know this? Did we see him much at all this year?
No. And the article I saw yesterday, I think this put it best because, you know, the Cardinals, they put out on X the other day, it's our guy. Picture Kyler Murray. A lot of fans, a lot of Cardinals fans, and NFL fans in general, they went back to 2018, and they retweeted. They found an old tweet from when Cliff Kingsbury was there, and the Cardinals account tweeted out a picture of Josh Rosen and said, he's our guy. Okay. Remember that fiasco?
Yep.
Here we are 6 years later, doing the same for Kyler Murray. That's not a good. Josh Rosen, that was a horrible decision.
Yeah, not a real good one at all. You look at Kyler Murray, it's hard to believe he's been in the league now. This will be his sixth year. 15,647 yards passing. 94 touchdowns, 46 interceptions, completion percentage of around 67%. I mean, it's not bad. It's average, right? I mean, it's not bad. But the problem with him is fumbles. You know, he fumbles the ball a lot. He's a small guy. What did you always used to call him? Man baby?
Yeah.
He's a man baby. He's small. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would put, what is their record since he's been there? It's like 28 and 36, so it's under 500. It's a very loose organization. So, I mean, if that's the lot you want to ride with, if that's the horse you want to get on and put him in the race, then so be it. LSU Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Jaden Daniels spent yesterday and today at the Combine meeting with teams such as the Bears, Commanders, Vikings, Jets, Giants, Patriots, Raiders, Seahawks, and Saints. It's a lot. Do you expect the Saints to take a quarterback in this draft?
Let's see. Trying to think, because they're going to let Jameis go. They still got Hayner. He's back from his steroid use suspension. Just restructured Carr. Well, that gives you 2 quarterbacks. It depends on, the thing about how many of these teams want to carry.
Right.
Most times it seems like it's only 2. I don't know, unless they took like a 6th or 7th rounder. Probably not.
I mean, you would think that they're riding with Carr. I mean, that's who they're going to ride with. But if they take a quarterback, it's kind of telling, right? Because especially if depending on when you take one, it's extremely telling. All right, let's see here. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams stated his goal of playing football. You ready for this? Now, this man is no Jameis Winston. He is not going to wow you with words. He is not going to give you metaphors of life, which is one of the reasons I love Jameis Winston, because when Jameis speaks to you, it's almost like a storybook. He's almost reading a storybook. Not Caleb Williams. He just says, as the saying goes, legends live on. That's my goal of playing football. It's not money. It's not even fame. But it is to become immortal. What the hell is that, Caleb? What is he talking about? That's worse than Jameis Winston. How do you become immortal as a football player? Is that possible?
All these legends are looked at as immortal. Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Tom Brady.
Dan wore isotoner gloves.
Bradshaw, all those. I get what he's saying, but my goal is to be immortal. Nah. This guy.
You're not buying this guy.
This guy who all of a sudden backtracks now and says specifically, I'd be all right to go to the Bears. I don't believe a word from this man. Or his, quote, camp. And that's a word I hate.
I wonder how many people he rolled up to the combine with. Is it 15, 20, 25, 35? Half a football team? I have no idea. Spanky, do you think the Ravens will sign a running back in free agency or the draft? I heard Barkley or Derrick Henry is out there, Spanky. Possibly. They need a back. I mean, look, Baltimore, what is Baltimore missing? If everything comes back right, what are they missing to make the next step, which would be the Super Bowl?
I guess they could use a receiver.
Right.
But use I want to say a non-ogre quarterback, but Lamar Jackson had a good regular season.
Well, it's always been about
I don't know. They don't need, based off last season, just last season, I don't know that they need a ton. It's just that you have the unfortunate timing of going up against that current Chiefs team. And that's everybody in the AFC.
That is true.
Even these beloved Bills that they keep trying to sell me on.
Oh, and I'm sure they'll try to sell you this year. Andy Staples believes Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels are missing out by not throwing at the NFL Combine. Quote, Anthony Richardson made himself a ton of money with the throwing session he partook in. He says, I'm looking at this like, why not? And, of course, Chris Lange was on earlier with us this week. You can grab that on the podcast. He talked about it and said, it's a nothing burger to him, but everybody has a different opinion. Matt from Brandon says, hey, if a top-tier quarterback is available for the Saints, they should draft a quarterback. Yeah, because you got to wonder, fair or unfair, if Derek Carr is very marginal this year and the Saints are not any good, he's going to get a lot of the blowback regardless. So is Carr going to be there in 3 years?
But what are we talking about top tier? Top tier is first round. They're certainly not going to take one in the first round. So what do we consider top tier?
It's got to be one of the top picks. Saints aren't going to have it, and they're not going to trade up for it. 601-897-1059. If you want to give us a call, this is the Malone Roofing call line real quickly. NCAA officials are meeting this week to discuss now 3 different signing periods per ESPN. We'll get into this. Late Wednesday in June, Wednesday after the regular season, and first Wednesday in February. So they're talking about expanding the signing period, trying to adjust some of this calendar stuff that's out there. We're brought to you by Clinton Body Shop, 601-924-2159. OEM factory certified. All the manufacturers you trust. Michael Bratton, that SEC podcast, up next.
And action!
We got that and a whole lot more around here. It's the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly.
What's the score?
He's got that, along with the hottest sports stories of the day on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue. You can find them in Flowwood. Breakfast, right next to Chipotle. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also, Madison location and Brandon location. Go to burgersbluesbarbecue.com for more information. Also, Facebook, Instagram, and more. All the social channels as well. Make sure to head over to X, find Michael W. Bratton if you hadn't already. Many of you have. If you hadn't, go do that. You're missing out. At Michael W. Bratton, that SEC podcast. You can find it on that SECpodcast.com. And, of course, other platforms, YouTube and more. Mike, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Jake. Thanks for having me, as always.
Man, I appreciate you, as always. How about taking a small poll from people that come on? Are you buying and playing NCAA football when it comes out?
I'm still playing NCAA 14.
Very good.
So, yes, Jake, I am.
Very, very good. Hey, we're joking, but we're not. I think we're going to buy a deal and put it up here so we can play up here at the office. So I know that will decrease productivity by a large amount, but we'll just have to figure that out. Hey, speaking of figuring it out, Texas A&M, let's go there first. What is your take on Elko and what they have done, at least in the transfer portal? Spring practice is about to kick off everywhere, but what is kind of the ceiling, the floor? Can he do any better than his two predecessors in Kevin Sumlin and Jimbo Fisher, and are you expecting him to?
Yeah, and I think it's uniquely set up for him to do that, Jake, because if he makes a college football playoff, that's something his predecessor couldn't do. Now, it's obviously much easier because it's a 12-team format, but people at the end of the day are not going to care about that. They're going to care how many times you make that and how many times you're competitive competing in the SEC, and can he beat Texas? I mean, that's something Jimbo didn't have to worry about, but something that Elko sure heck will. He'll have to beat the Longhorns probably about every time he faces them at Kyle Field. They expect to win that game. So maybe there's a little bit of added pressure specifically on that one game, but we know what we're getting with Mike Elko. We're going to be elite on defense. May not be elite immediately, but by year 2 they better be. And I really like to hire Colin Klein, an offensive coordinator. I think he is someone that adjusts to his players and is a new age offensive mind for college football, and that is certainly something they were lacking under Jimbo Fisher.
Michael Bratton on your radio, that SEC podcast. Find him on Exit. Just search for SEC Mike. Get in and enjoy today. All right, LSU. I don't know what to – look, LSU we know recruits well. It doesn't matter who's there. They're going to recruit well. Got to replace Jaden Daniels. They feel pretty good about Nussmeier doing that in that quarterback room. Whole new defensive staff. LSU 10-1. I know you put this out there, courtesy of BetOnline _AG to win the SEC. They have the 6 best odds to win the SEC championship this year, at least today. What can you expect of LSU and Brian Kelly?
Yeah, this is a team, Jake, a lot of people are high on, and I don't get it. And that's not to say that they're going to be bad. They just won 20 football games in 2 years in the SEC. That ain't easy. So I'm not saying they're terrible or anything, but I'm just trying to figure out someone that was just completely pathetic on defense. How are we going to turn that over in one off season, even though we've overhauled the coaching staff? Our best overall player, we for some reason, we are dead set on playing him out of position, which kind of killed his production last year. Looks like they're dead set on doing that again. Quarterback won the Heisman. He's gone. Top 2 receivers were borderline All-Americans. They're gone. And they've never been able to really have a running game under Brian Kelly. So why in the world is everyone excited? And if you look at their schedule, Jake, I mean, it's tricky right out the gate. Southern Cal in Las Vegas, UCLA the first month as well. That's something that has plagued Brian Kelly at LSU. They can't win the first game. And that I think if they don't beat Southern Cal, I mean, I think we're looking at an 8-win team at best next season. So I think there's immense pressure for LSU going into a game that I think most people expect them to win. But if he goes 0 for 3 in season openers, I think it's going to be a down year in LSU.
No, I would tend to agree with you. I've got them set if everything goes right at 9-3. That SC game is what is, like you said, kind of where that hinges. Playing against Lincoln Riley, breaking in a new quarterback, a lot of new skill talent at SC, Paper Tiger on defense. So they need to win that game. Let me ask you about a few more teams here that we typically don't talk about. Kentucky. We've talked about Kentucky with you, like a lot of these teams, for years with you, and they're a really solid football team. Mark Stoops has built a solid program. You look at a Georgia quarterback now coming over in Vandegrift. Can he get them over the edge? And what is over the edge? I mean, can they be looking at a playoff spot? I don't think that they can compete, obviously, now with the Georgias and the Texases and Ole Misses and Alabamas of this year, Tennessee. But can they be in at least a conversation for one of those playoff spots come November?
I don't think so, Jake, and I think this is one of the main programs that is fighting against a 9-game SEC schedule.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be upset now that we no longer have East and West divisions, because that is resulting in them having to go to Ole Miss, heavy favorite, I would think, for the Rebels in that matchup. Auburn, it is in Lexington, but I think I would favor Auburn in that matchup. And, at Texas, who, again, heavy favorite Texas. So I don't know, Jake. Everyone's circling Brock Vandegrift is potentially the answer. I'm not bought in on that. And I think it's clear as day the last couple of years they've tried to kind of rejuvenate their identity on the offensive side of the football, throw it around more, have these high-profile quarterbacks, and the results have not followed. They need to get back to ground and pound. That's where the Big Blue wall, it's been Big Blue get your quarterback killed the last couple of years. We got to reestablish that offensive line and be a grounded pound, and I don't know that they have the players to do that right now.
So I saw you put this out yesterday. Florida hires Dan Enos from Arkansas. How should that make Gator fans feel?
Well, let's just keep him away from game planning, calling plays, coaching quarterbacks, and if we could do all that, we're good. So, I love to poke Florida fans because they can't seemingly take a joke to save their life. But, I believe he's just going to be an analyst, but, that's not going to help anything there, I don't think. Billy Napier, I don't know what in the world he's thinking bringing in Dan Enos. Now, is he overqualified to be an analyst? Sure, but again, if you need that guy's help, you're in more trouble than I thought. And I'm just shaking my head at the fact they brought in a guy that engineered one of the worst offenses in all of college football last year.
Speaking of let's stay with the Arkansas theme. Can Bobby Petrino, could not do it for Jimbo Fisher, can he go back to Arkansas, already there, and save Sam Pittman's job this year?
Potentially, Jake, because I'm a little curious, and you're not alone, so I'm not calling you out specifically, but I'm a little confused why people say he didn't get it done at A&M. I mean, they went from averaging 22 points per game to 33 in one offseason, and that's with 3 different quarterbacks due to injuries. So I thought Bobby Petrino did a pretty good job at A&M last year, given that now we know he had to go to Jimbo's terminology. Jimbo still had his hands on it and everything like that. So we know Sam Pittman's not going to do that. Now, the bigger question, I think, who will Arkansas have at quarterback? And even more important is how that offensive line look. Because never in my life, Jake, would I thought Sam Pittman's teams, the weakness would be the offensive line. But it really has been, particularly last year and really the last 2 years. So can they get that resolved? Because they could have the best quarterback in the SEC, even though we know they won't. But if they don't have any offensive line, it's not going to matter, and they'll all be fired if they can't get that resolved.
Michael Bratton talking SEC football, Wednesday edition of the program. Let me get you out of here with an Alabama question. Man, so much change, and of course, some of this is negligible, but new coach obviously in DeBoer. He's on social media. New play-by-play voice as they move away, from one of the greats in Eli Gold. Just a ton of stuff, and I saw where I don't know if this is good or not. More access maybe than ever for the media at spring practice for Kalen DeBoer as well. What does he do with Jalen Milroe? Is he the quarterback this year? Can he adapt to what Milroe does, and can Milroe adapt to what the coach does?
Yeah, Jake, I feel bad for the media members because if Alabama goes into the ditch like some assume, that next coach is going to strip away all those availabilities. They're going to blame it on the media, for asking questions during the week. My God. But, I mean, to answer your question, I think Jalen Milrose, I think he's horribly underrated. I guess it's just because we saw him last in Michigan, and it was obviously not impressive. A lot of that had to do with the fact that his center could not snap the ball to him. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy he's the leading returning vote getter for last year's Heisman Trophy, and everybody's throwing him in the trash saying he can't play football. Well, I think he's going to be much better prepared this year playing for Kalen DeBoer than he was for Tommy Rees, who last I checked is now a tight ends coach in the NFL. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be one of the surprise players in the SEC. I'm more concerned about Alabama's defense than I am the offense heading into this new era without Nick Saban.
Make sure to get the podcast, that SEC podcast. You can find it on YouTube as well. Give them a follow on X. Always your SEC football in one place with SEC Mike. Michael, I appreciate your time, sir. Look, have a great weekend, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Take care, Jake.
Thanks so much. Michael Bratton on your radio, brought to you by Sound Communications, online at soundcomav.com. Collaborate, design, build with Sound Communications. They've been around since 1955. Let them help your business or place of worship today. Back in a bit.
Turning to sports with Jake Wimberly on the afternoon drive.
One of the last pure pleasures I have left in my life.
Yeah, maybe you ought to get a life first, okay? On ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Appreciate Michael Bratton jumping in. We're brought to you by Madison PTS, location in Gluckstadt, 316 Old Jackson Road. Let Bill Thomas and his team at PTS Power Pitching and, of course, Madison PTS help your baseball, softball players this year. Go to ptssports.training, 601-898-1828. That's 601-898-1828. Let them help you with a sports performance evaluation, arm care programs, ask about their cage rentals, workout programs, and more. We'll have Adam Johson at 4:15 talking MHSAA basketball. Rafael Esparza at 4:30. Possum Neck Joe. Yeah, Jake, they say Son of Sam and Charles Manson were real funny guys also. Speaking of, I don't know what he means.
Joe, who were you talking about? You must have said someone was funny. I don't remember.
Was it in reference maybe to Jameis Winston? I have no idea.
Sounds likely.
Unnamed texter, let's see. Saints need a real quarterback. Carr is not the man. Too inconsistent. Saints need to trade up. Titans need to keep Henry. Henry and Big Jeff Simmons are fan favorites. Trust me, they need to make the fans happy or they will have an empty stadium. I think the Titans will probably keep Simmons for sure, but I think it could be time, not that I agree with it, to move away from Henry. Resdog, Jake, please tell me there are no MSU sports today for me to be disappointed about. I don't know of any unless they're swimming today. They could be swimming today, but you're safe on the other sports. All right, Texas A&M. You know, it's just weird for Florida. They hired Dan Enos, who was awful at Arkansas. Texas A&M is also hiring away Florida Director of Scouting and Recruiting Relations, Joe Hamilton, for a significant personnel and recruiting role. Tell sources Hamilton, a native of Texas, was a huge part in Florida's recruiting the last 2 years, which was very good. So Billy Napier loses his top recruiting guy. And people think I'm crazy for picking Florida to go 2-10, 3-9, somewhere in that space. This is likely the worst Florida football program since right after World War II. It's awful, absolutely awful. They're going to wish they had Jim McElwain back. Josh Pate, late kick Josh, says Florida State will not be in the ACC much longer. He says, I think it could happen by 2025. So on his podcast, The Late Kick with Josh Pate, he was talking about this yesterday, that he thinks by 2025 they're gone. I think that's probably true with all of this stuff we've talked about. Now, where are they going? Where do you think they're going to really go? Because they're going somewhere. They've already got deals in place, so they wouldn't be working this hard to get out.
Well, I think it's got to be SEC or Big Ten, but so now are they just going to say screw it and throw out that money? That's been the issue.
Yeah, it sounds like they've got several options on ways to borrow and then pay back the money. Yeah, a negotiated price of sorts.
You might as well. You've been bitching about this for 2 years now. Don't act like in modern college football programs don't have ridiculous money. I know now, but it's extremely ridiculous money that's going to take them to get out of there.
Correct.
But just do it or shut up. But I find that interesting. 25, so only one more season. I don't know. I feel like that's still a little too rich to throw out
25.
there.
Well, by 25, which means it probably wouldn't start till 26, right before the new television contracts come up, which would make sense. Have Florida State in place wherever they're going to go, and then you can put that in your, quote, media package to the networks. Hey, we've got this footprint, whoever you are, Big Ten or SEC. We're also adding Tallahassee, Florida, and the Panhandle. A lot of people in the SEC that you talk to feel like, no, it's not going to be the SEC. The SEC doesn't need, 2 teams in the state of Florida, and SEC's already got Florida covered up. I tend to disagree. I think they need Florida State. Do you want the Big Ten hanging around down here in the South?
No.
Because they're everywhere. Right now, they're not in the South. But if Florida State, now you have a satellite office of sorts in Tallahassee of a Big Ten team, do you really want that? I think you have to protect your turf.
I thought Florida State, if this was going to happen, I thought Florida State made sense to the SEC from the beginning. Why not? You're basically covering Florida. You go get Miami after that, and it's, you got the whole state. But
that's my point, yes.
Florida and Florida State, that's 70% of the state you got covered there.
And a lot of people have said, Miami, they're more fitted for the Big Ten. No, just what you said. I think if you're the SEC, just out of principle, you say, you know what? Florida is our state. Boy, that came out weird, didn't it? Florida is our state. And you take Florida State and you take Miami.
Am I looking at Gator Matt right now? Who's this?
Or Dan Mullen. This is our state. You remember that?
No, I remember that, but we're talking about Florida.
Oh, okay.
Gator Matt would be the one to say this is our state.
That's true. Or if you did that, then in the SEC, Florida State could literally say, talk about Miami and Florida and go to the school up north, regardless of the other. Florida and Miami say the school down south, and then they could be east and west. Might as well go get Central Florida, too. Nah, Central Florida ain't going to do that. They're going to stay in the Big 12. Brad Crawford already predicts his way too early finish in the SEC. We'll see what he has to say. Also, Kalen DeBoer softens Alabama's media access policy ahead of spring practice. Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Softens the media access policy.
Yeah, meaning they're going to have more access. You can come in and watch spring practice probably. Well, there's a piece on this. We'll see exactly what it details out, but he's doing everything Nick Saban wouldn't do. He's getting on social media, softening up for the media. I don't like this for Alabama.
Yeah, I think if those are two options, doing things unlike Nick Saban or like Nick Saban, you might want to do more like Saban would.
Because he's going to soften this deal up for the media, and one of the first questions he's going to get in spring practice is, so Coach, do you know, because media asks just stupid questions now. So, Coach, do you like the person that asked the question about the Super Bowl and the effect of the weather when it was in a dome or one of those playoff games or something? Remember that? Here recently?
Yeah.
So he's going to get a question from some bad media person. It's going to be something like, Coach, so do you really feel you can live up to the expectations of Nick Saban? What happens if you go 9-3? Those dumb questions are going to come in, right?
Yeah.
That he doesn't want to answer.
I'm glad you brought this dumb media questions up, because the other day, I think it was Sunday, NFL Network, they do their top 10 lists. And this show was the top 10 HBCU players of all time. They were talking about Doug Williams. And I was reminded of the time that when he went to the Super Bowl with the Redskins, a media member asked him, when did you know you were an African-American quarterback?
Really? That happened?
Yeah. I knew this at one point, and I just completely forgot about it. How dumb. How dumb is that? That was an all-time dumb one.
Look, we need media. You need to know what's going on. But we know the state of media as a whole in this country is very loose. And regardless of what you subscribe to, a lot of Americans are very hesitant of news that they get. And if you want to know why, you go to questions just like that. But the media likes to build themselves up as the end-all, be-all. They are the experts. They tell you about science. They tell you about sports. They tell you about politics. It's their voice. But then you just remember questions like that to Doug Williams 30 years ago are dumb questions about asking about how you're going to handle the weather in the Super Bowl or a playoff game when it's in a dome. Media's got to clean it up. This whole holier-than-thou-are stance that they got, they're flat garbage. You know what they are? They're Vanderbilt in football. Hour 2 up next.
The number you have reached.
WRKS Pickens Jackson. From college football to the NFL to high school football. 365 days a year. Hear it all on Jackson Sports Authority. Live and local at 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com. Now let's get back to the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly.
We're brought to you by Mississippi Legends Grill. It is not your grandmother's bingo today. Kids eat free tomorrow. Fried chicken Friday, catfish Friday on a Friday. All the stuff you need. Get the lunch special today. Facebook.com// Mississippi Legends Grill. Get a Michelob Ultra, Bud Light. Please drink responsibly, courtesy of Southern Beverage. Michael Bratton, hour number 1. We'll have Adam Johson in the next segment talking MHSAA Basketball Championships down at the Big House. Rafael Esparza at 4:30. And this will be the last show of the week because we'll have basketball tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. Let's go to Winslow on the Malone Roofing caller line. Winslow, welcome in.
Jake, I cannot believe I'm coming to the defense of the Clarion Ledger.
Wow.
But I really have to.
Okay.
The reporter who asked that question was Butch John, who worked for the Clarion Ledger for many years. He wrote sports and then he wrote general news. The question that he asked, according to a column he wrote later, he says, obviously you've been a black quarterback all your life. When did it start mattering? Because everybody was making such a big deal out of a black quarterback, getting to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So according to Butch, he was in the back of the room, and somebody had to repeat the question, and the way it got repeated was, well, when did you start becoming a black quarterback? And so that's what got reported. But Butch wrote a column and basically said, here's what I asked and here's what got reported. And if you think about what he says he asked, that's a very good question. Obviously you've been a black quarterback your entire life, but when did it start to matter or make a difference, But yeah, I got to come to Butch's defense. I didn't always agree with what he did, but he was a pretty good writer, and he does not deserve that grief.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. Because we see this not just in that, but we see it a lot of times, right, in media. It could be a headline that gets worded wrong. Somebody gets interviewed. Maybe it's just picked apart, and there's a narrative made. And look, this can go across sports or politics or life or whatever. Now, it's not always the message; it's the delivery of the message, and a lot of times that gets skewed, right?
Yeah, I heard some illogical questions. I've seen the video of that one about the game in Detroit, I think. And then years ago, when I covered basketball, was at a game where both centers got 2 fouls right before halftime, so they put in the third-string center. He does really well, gets a couple points, a couple of rebounds. And in post-game, somebody asked the coach, well, so-and-so did really well there. Why didn't you start in the second half? And the coach just kind of smiled and says, well, we were saving him for later in the game. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff out there. But, hey, look, I appreciate you sharing that story with us.
All righty. See you.
Thanks so much. 601-897-1059. That is the Malone Roofing call line. We're brought to you by Maristar Casino. 4 great restaurants to serve you on the property and the Bottleneck Blues Bar.
Yep. Winslow's absolutely right. This is from a 2007 Orlando Sentinel column, Butch John, and it's exactly what Winslow said. He asked, Doug, it's obvious you've been a black quarterback all your life. When did it start to matter? So that got switched around, and apparently it stuck around. I got by it because I've been hearing that for years. But here's the okay. But then I think it's one thing for me to get got. A jabroni nobody in Jackson, Mississippi. But this was the NFL Network's top 10 list.
Oh.
They were talking about it in the show. They had current and former NFL players reacting to how stupid the question was. So maybe NFL Network, you might want to, it's another thing for you to get got.
Well, a lot of outlets, they don't do their homework. There's just no homework done. I mean, look at how far we've talked about this before. Sports Illustrated has fallen. And this isn't a day that we're trying to bash on, traditional media or anything like that. It's just looking at it and going, hey, this is objectively what is happening. Sports Illustrated, with their lazy ways with AI and just everything that they did, the AP getting doxed by a fake Tennessee account on X about Jalen Milroe hitting the transfer portal when Nick Saban retired and putting an article out about it. And it was not even true. So there's just a lot of people that they don't do their homework. And I think, frankly, they're kind of dumb. They're not that smart. They're just not that smart at all. All right, let's see here. Unnamed texter. Eventually, the SEC gets Georgia Tech back. Florida State and Clemson. Big Ten will get Utah, maybe Pitt or Notre Dame. Look, at this point, anything can happen, right? I don't know. Does the SEC want Georgia Tech back? I mean, I know Georgia Tech was one of the founding fathers of the Southeastern Conference, but what does the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech bring the SEC?
Nothing. A much more competitive game for Vanderbilt than they usually play. Two horrible teams.
Did you know that the Kansas City Chiefs have a reimagined, as they call it, Arrowhead Stadium? $800 million. I'll have to get into the story. Their fans are roasting them for this. And let's see here. Good Lord, this is such a wild story. Court rules, we'll get into this. Airline must honor AI chatbots $483 refund promise. So AI's had a bad couple of weeks. All right, Brad Crawford, 247sports.com on the Big Ten. I want to get into that. Also want to get into this J.J. McCarthy stuff. SEC win predictions by Brad Crawford. Also looks like Esparza's going to have to, hold on, let me just send this to him real quickly. Okay, let me just put that out there. All right, SEC win predictions. Brad Crawford has his pre-spring Vanderbilt record at 3-9 and conference 0-8. I think that is fair. Arkansas he has at 5-7 with a 1-7 finish. Mississippi State, Jeff Lebby. 4-8 and 1-7. 4-8 and 1-7. Says right here there's going to be a considerable traction around Mississippi State and first-year coach Jeff Lebby when the Bulldogs start the SEC season with an upset win over Florida at home. So, see, he has Florida, them beating Florida as well. But that's as good as it's going to get in year one for a program in transition. Games against Texas and Georgia on the road follow, and there's a nationally ranked trifecta against Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss in November. That's brutal for Lebby and company. South Carolina, real quickly, a couple more of these. He's got 5-7 and 2-6. Kentucky 7-5 and 3-5. He's got Florida at 6-6. There's no way in hell Florida's getting a 6-6. Says getting to a bowl eligibility could be essential for Billy Napier to keep his job past 2024, and it's not a lock by any means. Facing the nation's toughest schedule by most metrics, Florida plays 11 power conference opponents, including Miami, Central Florida, and Florida State in the non-con. The only cupcake is Samford in week 2. Switched a sandwich between the Canes, Miami Hurricanes, and the opener in Texas A&M. It's going to be difficult to ask the Gators to get to 6-6 with the rest of the schedule. Tennessee, Georgia, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Florida State. St. Louis Vic. Jake, do you know which conference did those officials who worked the MSU Jackson State game yesterday are from? I nearly fell out of my chair when I heard the name Javaro January. I remember him at Callaway playing football and baseball. Javaro January is a really good friend of mine. And it's interesting you bring him up, man. That guy has worked his rear end off. I haven't talked to Javaro in quite some time, but I know that he has been working as a SEC official behind the plate. So I think it was the Southeastern Conference. I think he's in the Southeastern Conference. I know he's working the SEC tournament last year, and he was a heck of a football and basketball or baseball player. Heck of a football and baseball player. And super good guy. So it's interesting, Vic, that you bring up Javaro. That is very interesting. I did not see the game yesterday. I was unaware that he was working the game yesterday. But I'm almost sure if he was there, that's going to be a Southeastern Conference crew that was working that game. Jason in Flagstaff, Kentucky football is an enigma. They're capable of beating anyone who beats themselves and no one who doesn't. And Beth Moen's offspring. Good day, mates. Go Vols and Broncos. Vols may win a natty in at least one sport this year. Also, please do not draft McCarthy, Kirk Cousins, or bust. And Pug. That dude is drunk. Florida might not get 3 wins. I bet he's going to give Colorado 10 as well. And Resdog. After last year, the guy is right. MSU sucks. Do you think Jeff Lebby will go 4-8 this year? I mean, that's tough. He's got Auburn 7-5 and 3-5, Oklahoma 7-5, 3-5, Tennessee 9-3, 5-3, Missouri 9-3, 5-3, Texas A&M 9-3, 6-2, Alabama 10-2, 6-2, three-way tie for 4th, LSU 10-2, Ole Miss 11-1, Georgia 11-1, and Texas 11-1. Brad Crawford, 247sports.com. So he's got a 3-way tie at the top between Texas, Georgia, and Ole Miss. We're brought to you by Capital Orthopedic, online at capitalortho.com. Several locations to serve you: Flowood, Madison, Clinton, Brookhaven, Hazelhurst, and Kosciuszko. Move better. Live better and be better with Capital Orthopedic. Online at capitalortho.com. 601-987-8200. Adam Johson coming up next.
It's time to get
Back in the game.
with Jake Wimberly and the Afternoon Drive.
That's entertainment.
On the station that specializes in the Mississippi sports you love.
Now we're talking.
Live and local on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by the MHSAA. Officially become official today. Go to MISSHSAA.com, 601-924-6400. We will have the MHSAA Championships starting tomorrow afternoon all the way through Saturday night at the Mississippi Coliseum. Boys and Girls Championships 2024. Adam Johson, General Manager of the MHSAA. Kind of take some time away. I know he is running and gunning as always. Adam, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Jake, great to be with you. Absolutely. It's wide open here at Mississippi Coliseum, but if you like basketball, this is the place you want to be right now. It's wild. A lot of it being played and a lot of really good basketball being played.
Before we get to tomorrow through Saturday, take us through how the week's been. Obviously, a lot of basketball. We talk about this. I was talking to Sam Williams out of Brandon last week about this. He agreed this could be the hardest tournament of all the tournaments that you play in high school sports in the state of Mississippi. To just, hey, congratulations, you get to the big house. Now you got to play all week long. So talk a little bit about how the week's been.
Absolutely. Well, even taking a step back past the week, you get for the first couple of rounds, and last week quarterfinal sites that we hosted at 6 sites throughout the state. So you're on a neutral floor in the quarterfinals. So that's difficult at a neutral site. Then you get to semifinals here that are played starting Monday. We tipped off at 9:00 Monday morning. We played 8 games on Monday. We played 8 games on Tuesday, and we are now in game number 5 of 8 today. So then we will be done with all of our semifinals this season, except for one session of semifinals we'll play starting at 9:00 tomorrow morning. That'll be 7A boys and girls semifinals. And then we'll take a little bit of a deep breath in the afternoon, starting about 3:00, and at 6:00, finals will tip off with 1A boys and girls tomorrow night. And then we'll have 6 games of finals on Friday and 6 games of finals on Saturday. So a lot of basketball has been played, but there is still a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah, it looks like if I'm on, and of course I know this is not in real time just because you guys have to update it, it's close. You've got basically all the championships set up to this point except for 4, 6, and 7A. Is that correct?
Let's see. I'll tell you exactly. We've got everything except for 6 and 7A. 4A is set. That finished a little while ago. Concluded with Raymond claiming the final spot in Class 4A boys. They will play Macomb, and then Tishomingo County and Morton 4A girls. Those were the 2 sets of semifinals that we played earlier today and knocked out. So we got 6 and 7A left to be decided.
Adam Johson, General Manager of the MHSAA, on your radio. We're going to tell you about tickets, how to get down there, what's going on. Of course, championships going on right now. You got the the semis going on. Championships start tomorrow night. Adam, a lot of familiar names. I mean, you look at this Boonville boys and girls. I mean, they just kind of have a reservation. It seems like Ingomar. You look at Canton, Yazoo City, Laurel, Lumberton. Blue Mountain making a trip now.
Biggersville boys are in it.
Biggersville,
yep,
so
absolutely.
A lot of familiar faces, and then some new ones as well.
There is. That's the fun thing you talked about, it being that tough. We've seen some perennial ones that you'd think go down as well. Choctaw Central girls got beaten overtime, which was a little bit of a shock this morning. Madison Bell missed basketball, and her team taking an exit a little earlier than they probably anticipated. So that's the thing about it. You get down here, anything can happen. We've had a couple overtime games. We've had a couple of games that really weren't even close from the tip-off. But that's kind of the way it goes. You get down here and you get hot and you get in a new building and, anything can happen. So that's part of the excitement here is, you've got some familiar teams, some new teams, but sometimes it's the Cinderella that comes in and maybe nobody expects to get hot down here but take home a title. So excited to see what happens the next couple of days. I tell people all the time, this is my favorite event that we run. It is a long week, 42 games of basketball over 6 days, which we used to say it was a lot when it was 36 games of basketball over 6 days. But now that we've gone to 7A, it's 42 games. But it is just electric all day long. We laugh about it. It's like being in a casino. You get in here and watch basketball, and you have no idea what time it is anymore because you just get immersed in the basketball. But it is a lot of fun. It's been a great atmosphere. We've had some great crowds. It's been not only a lot of people, but energetic crowds that are really into it. You might even be able to hear it. I'm out in the hallway. You can probably hear it a little bit in the background as we've got a good crowd in there right now. So definitely encourage folks, if you're listening, come out to the Mississippi Coliseum to catch 6A basketball this evening. We've got girls semifinals of 6A going on right now, and then boys will start at 7 o'clock will be our first boys game tonight. And then 7A semifinals in the morning, and then we'll start playing championships tomorrow night.
Adam, how can people get tickets if they want more information on the event? Obviously, it's at the Mississippi Coliseum, but as far as just parking and event, just getting there, getting in, all of that good stuff.
Absolutely, no charge for parking. So come on out, Mississippi Coliseum, drive around the backside. So if you come in off High Street, come around the building. That's the doors that we use to come in. Tickets are $15. You can buy at the gate. I know lines got really long last night. We had a huge crowd here between Provine and Canton, boys and girls both being here. So we do encourage you to go online to GoFan and buy your tickets digitally. They'll be on your phone. All you do is show them. They activate them right there coming in the door, so it saves you a lot of hassle. That's the easiest way. If you're not able to get out, then right now on the NFHS network, which you can go to MISSHSAA.TV, MissHSAA.TV. You can watch the games there. They will be televised beginning with the finals on Thursday night and then all day Friday and Saturday. Of course, you can catch them Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday right here on ESPN Radio. And catch up with us on social media. Go Facebook, Twitter. Our social media team's doing a great job of pushing out content. Of course, SB Live Sports is here covering all the games, our official media partner, so you can catch up with stories, highlights, and scores, live scoring on SB Live as well.
Adam, appreciate your time as always. Look, we appreciate what you guys do. It's been a fun week. I know it'll be a great weekend of championship basketball. Look, we'll see you down there tomorrow.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you here, Jake. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Adam Johson on your radio, MHSAA. You can go to MISSHSAA.com to learn more today as they're trying to set the rest of the bracket. You're going to have 1A Girls Championship. That'll be at 6 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Blue Mountain versus Lumberton. Boys and 1A right after that at 8 o'clock, Biggersville versus McAdams. Coming up on Friday morning at 10 a.m., the 3A girls, you'll have Boonville taking on Belmont. And then after that, 3A boys at noon, you'll have Boonville versus Coahoma County. So Boonville trying to go, boys, girls championship. And then you've got 2A championship at 2 o'clock. That'll be New Site versus Ingomar. And then Bogachetta versus Ingomar. That's the boys at 2A. 5A, you've got Canton versus Laurel in the girls. And then Yazoo City versus Canton in the 5A boys. 6A or 4A boys, we know it's Raymond versus Macomb. And the rest of the bracket is to be decided the rest of the day, and, of course, first thing in the morning. We're brought to you by Janney King. They are the king of cleans. Go to JanneyKingCleans.com for more information. Let them help you in your school, office building, your place of worship. They can help you in anything you got to keep your facility clean. And, of course, you're talking about, again, if you've got a venue, school, medical facility, office building, office park, get a cleaner office, get a cleaner life. Go to JanneyKingCleans.com. Keep that office space clean. Spick and span. Back in a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to go
Back to the afternoon drive with Jake Wimberly. With the hottest sports stories of the day.
For one of those moments, it only happens
right here
On ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Brought to you by Malone Roofing Services. ECMalone.com is their website. 8337 Malone. Commercial, residential roofing done right with Malone Roofing Services. Rafael Esparza, mybookie.ag on your radio. Esparza, welcome in, brother. What's going on?
Not much. Just trying to figure out the time difference that I am in Mississippi, because some people who text times can't relate to times. And so I know you guys deal with a lot of weather there, and you always talk about ACC stuff, so it could be mixed and chewed, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what the stuff is.
Yeah, I appreciate you moving around. We got high school basketball championships tomorrow through Saturday, and Beaver's ecstatic. He's working like 14 hours every day, and I know he's excited about that, so apologies for the
I'll put some lines up. I'll put some Mississippi high school championship basketball lines up for you guys.
I like that. Yep, send them over to me, and I'll make sure to get them out and give you credit for it. All right, NFL Combine. Do you like it? Do you not? Is it meh? How do you feel about it?
I think it's a little bit overrated. I mean, when was the last time we anointed a guy going straight to the Hall of Fame because he bench pressed more than 49, or he beats what's his name, Stephen P's bench press record at 50. I think it's kind of funny and comical more than anything. I like to see other people who, he's really fast and he's not really that fast. So it's more, but that means nothing to me on how I handicap games, futures, or anything.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, to me, you look at it, we had Chris Landry on, and you look at some of the storylines, like, does it make sense that quarterbacks throw or not throw? For instance, Caleb Williams not throwing, Drake May's not throwing, Jaden Daniels not throwing. Chris Landry says it's nothing burger. Others say that it is. How do you look at that? I mean, they're not throwing, but they're coming for the interviews. They're just going to wait for pro day.
I think the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks don't need to throw, but if you're, let's say, the Tulane quarterback or something like that, then I think you have to throw. You just want your name out there. But, like, I would say that my cutoff would be McCarthy from Michigan. I would say in the top 3 and then add him. Everyone else, I think, needs to probably throw and needs to do that. Because now you're just battling for position. Are you a second round, third, fourth, fifth? Now you're battling for position. But the top four, I think, don't need to throw.
Rafael Esparza, mybookie.ag, get in and play today, Wednesday edition of the program, a day earlier than normal. All right, so Beaver is getting tired and not buying the J.J. McCarthy hype. There is a lot of that, as you well know. Are you buying McCarthy if he's a stock, or are you selling him off?
I think people are buying it just because of who else went to Michigan and wasn't a highly draft pick or highly touted. Tom Brady, Harbaugh kind of grooms quarterbacks and stuff like that. I could see the hype. He's probably going to be one of those nice game managers, not throw picks, studies the game really good in the locker room, real good leader. But, I mean, to win a Super Bowl right away or be a Brock Purdy or be one of these top three quarterbacks, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'd be a good game manager.
Let's move to guys that are in the league. This Kyler Murray, I mean, Arizona has gone all in. Like, this is our guy. They did a year ago. They didn't do this. Remember, they were going to penalize him for playing video games, all that. But now he's the guy, franchise guy. Is he really? What has he done over the last year to warrant this?
I think they're kind of stuck in a hard place. I mean, they have that contract that he's still stuck with. I mean, he did play okay coming back from his injuries last year. I think if he needs one or two pieces, maybe in a draft or free agents, I think we can see if he is maybe that guy. But I think they're just stuck because they can't really draft one of the top quarterbacks. I think they can get a good offensive piece that surrounds him. But I was impressed at how he came back last year with injuries. He did play pretty well.
All right, let's shift to college basketball. Which conference is the best conference? Not the most teams going into the tournament. Who's the best conference?
I mean, I wish I could say the Mountain West, but I'm going to say probably maybe Big Ten or Big East just because of Purdue and UConn. Marquette just hit a snag with what's his name going to be out because of his grades. But I think Purdue, I think they last a bit longer. Don't sleep on Illinois. I think they can make some noise in the tournaments. But, I don't want to blow. Don't sleep on Utah State in this college basketball tournament. They can shock some heads. I mean, everyone's going to say SEC because of Bama. I like Bama over Kentucky. I would give them a little bit higher grade on that one. But I'm going to go Purdue just because of Illinois. I think Illinois can shock some people in the tournament.
Southeastern Conference, legitimate or a fool's goal in this tournament coming up? Which we got to see the bracket. We still got a while, but Mississippi State, Kentucky played a phenomenal game last night. Kentucky with a walk-off shot, amazing basketball game. But you buying or selling the Southeastern Conference?
I'm buying some of them, not all of them. I do like Tennessee, even though they have a big game tonight. I like how they become. Auburn can be very shocking. Alabama needs to play Alabama-type ball. If they get a bad matchup, they can easily go out pretty early. But if they get a good matchup, they can make some noise in the tournament. But I'm going to say probably Tennessee and Auburn would be the ones that I would probably look for. I don't want to say go far, but, get some advancements in the tournament.
Do we still hold the ACC in the highest of regards?
I mean, they're always going to be. They're the SEC of football. We'll put it that way because they got Duke, they got North Carolina, which North Carolina is going to be a tough out. They have so many experienced guys on that team that's been there before. Don't sleep on it. But of course, they're going to be in the creme of the creme just because of North Carolina and Duke.
What about the Big East? I mean, we're talking UConn, Marquette, Creighton, St. John's. A lot of great names in basketball, a lot of history there. But what about as far as their, I guess you could say, power grab in a piece of this tournament?
I like UConn, but I really like Creighton. Yeah, they have a big matchup tonight. I really like how they play at home and on the road. They can shoot the three ball on the road just as good as they can shoot the three ball at home, and they play really, really good team defense. I like Creighton. I mean, of course, UConn is going to be up there with UConn, but if I had to buy stock, I probably would buy a little bit more stock on Creighton than I would UConn.
And the Big 12, is it Houston and everybody else? I mean, obviously Kansas is always going to be right there. They're plus 550 SC to win the Big 12 championship this year. Iowa State's got a nice team. Baylor's going to be there. But is it Houston and everybody else this year?
I think it's Houston, and Iowa State is not that far. I'm not sold on Kansas. They play when they want to play, and look what happened yesterday. They got wiped out by BYU, so I can see them bowing out pretty early. But I like this Iowa State team. So I'm going to say Houston is creme of the creme, They're the number one team right now, but don't sleep on this Iowa State team. I think they can shock some people in the tournament. Iowa State reminds me of San Diego State last year. Iowa State can probably make the Final Four.
And you said again, but your favorite conference is which one? The Mountain West?
I'm really shocked at how well Mountain West Conference basketball has played this year. I mean, it's been some fantastic games all season long. San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State. It's been really, really good, fun team to watch. And St. Mary's, don't sleep on the Gales. They're better than Gonzaga this year. When was the last time you can say that in many, many moons? St. Mary's is going to be a tough out.
What else is going on? What you got your eye on this weekend?
I mean, it's college basketball. We have some great NBA matchups, hockey matchups, and all that. MLS started last week. If people don't know that, they have some great matches on Saturday as well. So it should be a fun weekend of college hoops. I can't believe March is a blink of an eye, and we'll be talking about conference tournaments pretty soon.
It will be here before you know it. Hey, I appreciate you moving around. We'll get back to Thursday next week.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic weekend.
Have a great weekend. See ya. Rafael Esparza, MyBookie.ag, getting into play today. We're brought to you by Ashley Howie, Crye-Leike Realtors, 769-226-3782, Facebook.com/Ashley Howie Realtor if you're looking to buy, sell, or relocate. Back in a bit.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And welcome back to the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly, where he's talking about anything and everything that's Mississippi sports.
No, great afternoon.
Right here on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online worldwide on thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Williams, Newman Williams. When you need a win, car wreck, truck accident, nursing home neglect, online at WNWlegal.com. That's WNWlegal.com. Let them help you today. We appreciate Rafael Esparza, MyBookie.ag, jumping in. Also, Adam Johson with the MHSAA. We'll have our coverage starting tomorrow afternoon from the Big House down at the Mississippi Coliseum. 2 ball games tomorrow, full day action on Friday, going into the nightcap, also on Saturday as well, as we crown basketball champions, 14 of them. Here in the state of Mississippi. It's all you and I and Beeve the rest of the way. All right, before we get back into some of these SEC win totals, courtesy of 247 Sports and this J.J. McCarthy hype. Why am I here for J.J. McCarthy hype? Why do I like this? What is it about? Is it because I picked Michigan to win the national title?
Yes, this crap that you kept spewing through the season, for some reason, though, has carried over. Like, it's done. The pick is done. They won it. You know, you had your moment of gloating and whatnot, and that's fine, but there's no need to stick with their quarterback now. This is a solo mission. He's no longer Michigan affiliated.
No. No, he's not. Let's see here. I know that, let me get real quick over here. Tiger Bait, you can text us 601-885-3776. When does Raymond High School play? Let me go back over here to the composite schedule, and you can go to, I'll put this out on Twitter, MHSAA.com. The 4A championship for the boys is going to be Saturday at noon. It's going to be Raymond versus Macomb. That should be a really good basketball game. God, Raymond has looked so good. Raymond, of course, has won this thing in the last couple of years. They are very good. And I'll talk to Tyler Cleveland down there tomorrow. You know, the last couple of years, most of your basketball heads, talking heads, have said, hey, look, regardless of classification, this Raymond program is the best in the state. And the guy's side. All on the guy's side. So, Tiger Bait, that's going to be Saturday at noon. That'll be Raymond versus Macomb. All right, let's see here. Pug. Well, let's go to Beth Moen's offspring. Yes, they do dominate the airwaves. No doubt about it. Pug. Bama -5 at Ole Miss, ? Seems like a spot where Bama covers pretty easily. Do they? I mean, maybe. Do they? I mean, we're talking about basketball here. I mean, State was a 4-point favorite last night, ended up losing on a, walk-off shot. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I mean, Ole Miss's back is against the wall just a little bit in this, NCAA tournament bidding of, getting in this thing on the bubble, so to speak. I've got some updated bracketology we'll get into. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss won the game at home. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Bama covers the 5. Jason in Flagstaff, I can see 4-8 for State, but I can also see 6-7 in football. I know it's a transition year, but I don't see wholesale impotence up front and at quarterback like last year, particularly when Will Rogers was out. I tend to agree with you, Jason. State can't help but be better next year or this year. New staff, look, follow the pedigree. I always say follow the pedigree. Jeff Lebby knows how to coach football, particularly offensive football. 100%. Again, I'm old enough to remember when he was at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, and there was rumors of Lane Kiffin being pulled out of there that a lot of Ole Miss fans said, hey, we'll just hire Jeff Lebby. So, 4-8 maybe if everything goes wrong, but I tend to lean more 6-6. They'll have a chance to get to a bowl game. Let's see here. CWR. Jake will manifest JJ to the top 10 of the draft. That's exactly what we're working to do. CWR says, I'm going to manifest J.J. McCarthy into the top 10. Let's go to DJ. DJ, welcome in.
Oh, I believe it. I think that before the Michigan National Championship, I don't know how many people were, listening to you the way they are now. But now when Jake Wembley said it, it's gold, and it's gotten around nationwide. It's not just a Mississippi thing, okay? Because, you pulled that rabbit out of the hat.
Hey, what do they say? Every dog finds a bone every now and then?
Well, you've had some good picks for it. Let me tell you what I did last night, and I'm not a big basketball fan. But let me tell you, Jake, anytime somebody gives me 4.5 points against Ole Miss and Mississippi State, put me down, okay? And I know I almost lost it. Now, last night is the first basketball game I've watched this year, other than 9 minutes of the Alabama game. And what I come away with, Mississippi State's pretty good, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they're a very good basketball team. Now, what does that mean nationally? We don't know. Brackets come out, that the matchups matter, but Josh Hubbard is an unbelievable talent. He's likely going to get freshman of the year in the SEC. He's breaking all kinds of records there. Yes, this is a very good basketball team.
He's unreal. Now, I did win my $50. I put $50. Now, I really was hoping that State could win by 1, and I still would be okay. But at the end, when Hubbard hit 3 threes in a row, I'm thinking. And did you see 2 of them? 2 of them was just Michael Jordan type stuff. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I was real impressed with State's basketball team last night because, I saw Kentucky play. I saw 9 minutes of the Bama game, and I'm like, well, Kentucky's starting to put it together. But anyway, love your show, and hey, what do you think about Tennessee and Auburn tonight?
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yep, let's get.
Hey, Jay.
Yes, go ahead.
What do you think about Tennessee and Auburn tonight? Help me out on that one.
Gotcha. All right, let me go over here to the Bet Builder, and we'll talk about that right now. We got a couple minutes here. NCAA basketball, and let's go to the games over here. Auburn at Tennessee, man, that's going to be a great game. That'll be a great game. That is a 6:00 tip on, I believe, ESPN. Tennessee is a 7.5-point favorite. Man, this is, 7.5. Man, that is a large line in this basketball game. Give me Tennessee to win, but give me Auburn to cover. Auburn to cover the 7.5 in basketball tonight. Told you I was going to get you a winner today. Lock it up. Auburn covers 7.5. Tennessee wins the ball game. Total's at 152. Go the under. Go the under on 152. David. Raymond lost to Yazoo City last year. Yazoo City. Thank you, David, for that correction. Thank you for that correction. Yeah, I do remember that now that you say that. But Raymond back in the championship game in 4A boys basketball. They'll play Macomb on Saturday. All right, Kalen DeBoer nixes Nick Saban's restricted media access rule at Alabama. Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer is making the Crimson Tide's football program more media-friendly ahead of his first season with the Tide. He's designated certain portions of practice time in the spring viewable by members of the press, while also making his staff and assistant coaches available for interviews. This is not going to end well. This is his first mistake. That marks a significant change from Alabama's extremely limited media viewing policy at practice that was around throughout Nick Saban's tenure. He ran a tight ship with with his staff too, for the most part, keeping them off limits from interviews. So let me ask you this. Why did Nick Saban, in his tenure, which is 17 years, limit media access and told his coaches and the media, you cannot talk to each other? Why did he do that?
Because media's dumb. Media's can be dumb, as we talked about, ask dumb questions. It can be a distraction, I suppose.
Coaches could say something that gets, misconstrued, like the Doug Williams quote. So if you have all access, media access at Vanderbilt, and let's just say Wake Forest, nobody cares. State and Ole Miss limit media access. And with all due respect, they're no Alabama. But this man, this DeBoer man, is going to come in and open it wide open to the media. Assistant coaches, himself. This is his first big mistake. You realize this? If Nick Saban is the gauge, why would you heel turn and do totally the opposite of the best coach in college football history forever and a day? From pre-1900 until today, he is the best ever. He never had coaching access to the media and limited himself to coaching or to media access. But DeBoer is going to come in here from Washington State and be like, yep, it's the first rule we're getting rid of. What's he going to do next? Change the mascot?
It's a new era.
I mean,
a lot of people, players, staff, and media included, got sick of Saban's rules. He was viewed as a tyrant. He lost coordinators seemingly every other year because of some of his rules. It's a whole new era, Jake. You don't have to be Nick Saban. It's your program.
Why is this starting to feel like in my head that Mike DeBoe's era at Alabama? Is he taking this program back to 1998?
Oh, look, DeBoer is going to be a better coach than J.J. McCarthy is a quarterback. Okay?
That's a heck of a bet. Heck of a bet. We'll talk about that. Hour 3 coming up next.
WRKS Pickens Jackson, where it's
Time
to take a ride. Yes, we're back with Jake Wimberly on the afternoon drive. It's live, it's local, and it's on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Hour 3 starts right now, courtesy of Capitol Grill in Jackson. Happy hour. Michelob Ultra, Bud Light. Please drink responsibly, courtesy of Southern Beverage. Grab a TV. There's 18 of them. Get a game of your choice. Handcrafted foods, beverage specials. See Lance and their team. Forget about your work day. Unwind a little bit. 50-50, I-55 North in Jackson. Capitol Grill of Jackson is where you want to be. And, of course, find them on Facebook.com/Capitol Grill of Jackson. Also, CapitolGrillofJackson.com. We're also brought to you by Maristar Casino. Get the bet builder, play, get ready for March Madness. A lot of big basketball games coming up. Big one tonight, Auburn, Tennessee. As Tennessee is a 7.5-point favorite at home tonight against the Auburn Tigers. Let's see here. Michael Bratton at 3:30. We'll get this up later this week. Adam Johson and Rafael Esparza. It's you and I and B the rest of the way. Leon on the Cowboy Maloney's text line. Jake, is there an all-day ticket for the high school championships, or do you have to pay separately for each game? That's a great question. Leon, I asked Adam Johnson through text just to make sure I thought I was right. One price all day. So you get one ticket, you go all day. So if you go in the morning and you start in the early, you pay, you get in, you can stay all day long. You're not going to get a better ticket than that. So you get a lot of basketball with one ticket. So you do not have to pay separately for the games. So you're not breaking it up each game. I mean, if you just want to go to one game, that's fine. But stick around and check out some of the other action. It's great basketball down at the Coliseum. Tiger bait. Talking about Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. He should change the mascot. Never understood what the elephant meant. Do you know the background behind the elephant? Me either. Anybody? Texas. Jason in Flagstaff. Dude's going to find out really quick the media in Tuscaloosa is not nearly the hippie media in Seattle, who largely couldn't care less about sports ball. I like the way you did that. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we were talking about the AL.com crew, the Tider Insider crew. I mean, just all of the media. There's a lot of it in Alabama. Lots. You know, I mean, Alabama, I was talking when we did the MHSAA championship games in Oxford to the SID at Ole Miss. We were just sitting around talking shop, and he was talking about how hectic it is in a Southeastern Conference press boxes when, say, Alabama comes in, because they have like 20 different reporters. I mean, it's, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, they're going to send, 5, 6, 7 at best. You're going to get your local news. A lot of those guys and girls are on the field because they have to do camera work and highlights and all that. But then you'll get some guys, the 247s, the on threes, the Spirits, the Jeans Pages, all, those people will be there. But Alabama brings a large group of media, and it's very hard to accommodate, or it's taxing. Beth Moen's offspring. If the Broncos draft JJ, can I please punch Jake in the face for charity? Y'all are sleeping on this guy, man. 100%. 100% sleeping on JJ McCarthy. 2024 NFL Draft, JJ McCarthy, polarizing opinions, merge behind NFL Combine where he could land. So McCarthy is one of the 10 players who could most improve his stock this week. Opinions surrounding the two-time All-Big Ten passer are quite polarizing. McCarthy finished his college career as a national champion and with a sparking 27-1 record as a starter. So let me ask you this about J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to stop right there first. A.J. McCarron, all of the Alabama quarterbacks prior to, you got to go back, Jalen Hurts, that had these gaudy records, and we always questioned those quarterbacks, did we not? Saying they were system quarterbacks. They had records like this, 27-1, 25-2. Why are we not questioning J.J. McCarthy like that? As a system quarterback. He had a great defense he was playing behind. Great running game. Didn't have to do a whole lot. So is it fair to say he is 27-1 as a quarterback, but is it the same 27-1 as Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud? A lot of people would say no. Completed 68% of his passes for 6,226 yards, 49 touchdowns to 11 interceptions at Michigan. That is a really good touchdown-interception ratio, by the way. High completion percentage. Showcased athleticism, 632 yards, 10 touchdowns on 161 attempts. Former NFL offensive lineman and 247 Sports college football analyst Blake Brockermeyer slots McCarthy as a second-round selection. But others have him a day one pick and maybe even a top 10 pick. Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports, said Mike Renner was on his podcast. He talked about what makes J.J. McCarthy a possible top 10 pick. Says, pay attention to the beaming that does not make sense to me. This is on a podcast, and they didn't put the whole quote in there, so I'm going to skip that. Jackson McIntyre says, I understand a lot of the J.J. McCarthy concerns, but arm talent should not be one of them. His game against TCU in the 2022 college football playoff was a great window of his arm strength. It's not elite, but the ball comes out of his hands very, very hot. Let's see. Ted Nugent just noting on J.J. McCarthy's release, not saying he's worth a top 10 pick. Very little wasted movement. Hips fire first, extremely quick and consistent. Looks like hands separate a little quick, but front shoulder stays focused. How about that, Beaver, for a ringing endorsements? Hips fire first. He's got fire hips. Old fire hips over there.
You know who else has hips fired first as a college quarterback? Jimmy Clausen.
Oh, no. Was he a hip guy?
Yeah.
We saw how that panned out. Because it was Kiper that was high on, said he would retire if he didn't become an elite quarterback, didn't he?
Yep, sure did.
Why did he not honor that? Golick had this to say. Your boy Golick. Was it Gojo and Golick now? How many shows has he had? Seeing J.J. McCarthy throw consistently next to Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix, guys who are a lot more pass-heavy offenses, just seeing these guys throw right next to each other is going to be important. He's not wrong on that. He's talking about, when they're just all throwing at the combine, getting in reps. That will be important. Let's see. One person, analyst, says, I think we can pencil in JJ as a fourth round one quarterback. Top 15 to 20 draft capital. Seems pretty safe. So there's a lot of varying opinions on J.J. McCarthy, what he can or cannot do. And that will continue. There's going to be there's several storylines at the Combine. One, Caleb Williams, the interviews, not throwing. Is that the thing or not? Obviously, Penix, and you look at the LSU quarterback as well, Jaden Daniels, and then J.J. McCarthy. And then, can a guy like Spencer Rattler continue to climb the mountain, so to speak? Because he took kind of a jump off at the Senior Bowl. So there's a lot of big storylines. Will you watch the quarterbacks? Is that all you watch? Or will you watch other skill position players or linemen, 40s, any of that?
Well, what I don't like, the way they schedule the Combine is you go to the guide and there's like a 4-hour chunk there. And they say, quarterbacks, defensive linemen, whatever groups. But we switch so far back, like they seem to switch back and forth. So I feel like you have to sit there and watch that entire, a good 2-hour block of it to see what you want to see. And I don't want to hang around on the Combine for 2 hours.
They're doing that they got you on the hook. You're waiting for a position unit or a certain player, and they just TV tease you for 2 hours. Stay right here. It's coming. Stay right here. Next commercial. Next one, right? And before you know it, you're there for 2 hours. Bill, when I'm watching the Combine, all I'm looking for, no matter what position it is hip fire. Got to have hip fire. That's going to be the new thing, I guess. How are your hips? Do they fire? There's a lot of directions you can go with that. Jason in Flagstaff, isn't the elephant, talking about Alabama, in reference to what Coach called their linemen at some point in history, red elephants? Almost certain I read that somewhere. I think you're right. Because I used to think it was a Civil War thing. Did you see the elephant? Elephant equals combat in that era. You could be right on the offensive front, but I'm not 100% sure. Zach Wilson is demanding a trade from the New York Football Jets. Where will he land? There are some spots. And speaking of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers looks pretty jacked up as he is preparing for a comeback. Rodgers is apparently looking lean and mean. He is manifesting himself into playing shape. Are we ready for an Aaron Rodgers comeback? Is he going to do more than run out of the tunnel with a flag? We're brought to you by Ranco Transmission, 1460 Old Brandon Road in Flowood, 601-939-9184. 50-plus years of foreign and domestic transmission repair. Back in just a bit.
Okay, we're back. I'm ready. It's more The Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly, where he's live and local on Jackson Sports Authority, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and online at thezone1059.com.
Brought to you by A1 Guaranado, your hometown vehicle specialist. 15-plus years of great service. You can find them on their website or call 601-939-1060. Anything under the hood, from brake repair to replacement radiators, engine starters, your heat, and more. By the way, it's temperatures have dropped out there. Temperatures have dropped. I think we got some rain coming in. Get everything on the back end fixed as well. Rear differentials, rings, and pinions. Go to a1guaranado.com, and you can always call 601-939-1060. All right, let's see here. Let me go back over here before I get to these texts real quick. Well, let me just go right here. Bill. Well, we got Bill's in. Magic Mike. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Chubbs and Happy Gilmore tell Happy it's all in the hips? Did he do that? Is Magic Mike right?
Did. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips.
So, yeah, the question is, in lieu of J.J. McCarthy, what's your hip fire? What is your hip fire? How do we rate hip fire? Is it like a 1 to 10 rating? Or is it 1 to 100? Or do you do it like a grade it, A, B, C, D, E, F? How are we quantifying hip fire?
You know it when you see it.
Is that little, that little drill Dak Prescott does that he got made fun of?
Yeah.
Is that a hip fire drill?
Sure, I'll go with that.
And some of the stuff Jameis Winston does, is that what these guys are doing? Hip fires, trying to fire the hips up?
I don't know what Jameis Winston does on anything.
Let's see here. Jason and Flagstaff, I'm beyond ready for an Aaron Rodgers comeback. If anyone deserves the absolute punishment offered by being the starting quarterback of the New York Football Jets, it's that guy. I hope he's loaded up with magic crystals. What? I'm looking for him to have a comeback. Space Ghost. Jake Firehips Wimberly. It's from Space Ghost.
Nope. Don't accept that.
Well, he did spell Wimberly wrong. Well, wrong for me.
Oh, sure did.
Well, some have the L-E-Y and some the L-Y. And I still haven't figured that out. It's weird. It's a weird deal. I even went through the whole ancestry thing several years ago. Couldn't figure it out. I mean, from the time we were in Kazakhstan and moved into Canada, won the Battle of Lost Mule, hip fire, and came into the United States, I still can't figure it out. Still L-E-Y and L-Y.
What?
Family
What did you just say to me?
It's family history. So, did you ever do the ancestry stuff?
I haven't.
Maybe you should go back and do the tree for the Martins.
23andMe, all that business. Okay. I actually have been curious about that before.
Now, I never did the DNA stuff. I just did the ancestry where you can go in and, gosh, that's been so long ago. I think you could put in, names and then birthdays, and I mean, it'll populate a lot of that stuff for you. That was years ago. You never know. So, do you know where 300 years ago where your family was from?
Nope.
So it could be Istanbul for all you know.
Yeah. The guy over, let's see, Monday mornings, the estate planning lawyer that I do on JNT, he has told me before, because he was talking on one of his shows about that 23andMe and ancestry stuff and all that. And I told him, I was like, I've actually been curious about that stuff. And this was off air. So, off air, you get
real conversation.
The real convo. And all I did, because he was talking about some stuff on the show, and when we went to break, I told him I've been intrigued by checking that stuff out. He got real serious. He goes, I've seen some real problems come up from that stuff in court. As if he was saying, don't do it.
Don't open the box.
But that kind of makes me even more curious now that I think back to it.
You never know. You could be from royalty and not even know it. There could be money that you are owed. You could be heir to a throne. Seriously. You could be heir to a throne in Istanbul and not even know it. Or Turkey. Some small village that's just waiting on you to return home.
So I need to figure it out so I can take my rightful spot on the throne.
Yes, absolutely. I think you should. Jake from Yazoo. Jake to Jake and Beeve. I don't recall who said they had Aaron Rodgers fatigue, but I do as well. Would like to note the guy was tired of himself and paid for darkness. Can he just go away? One Super Bowl and Danica Patrick is still the coolest thing he has done. Yeah, I think he's going to try to hang around for at least another year. Magic Mike, loose.
Like that.
Mike says loose hips sinks ships. That is absolutely true. It ain't just loose lips, it's loose hips. Watch your hip fire out there. Rhino. Sounds like Farmer Fran and St. Louis Vic. The 5A boys girls matchup should be interesting. Would I be able to listen via the stream? Yes. Yes, you can, Vic. We'll have all of that on the network here on the Zone 105.9 and, of course, the Zone1059.com. What is that? Why are you looking at me like that?
It always bothers me when you refer to this station as a network. We are simply a station.
But we are on a network of channels. Alpha Media. It's one big network.
No, look, salesman. Don't try to spin this and sell this to me or the people.
Was it like 208 stations for Alpha Media? It's a network of stations.
All right.
Technically, but I get what you're saying. Bill, I researched my ancestry one time. I found out my great-great-great-uncle, Bill, that is not, are you serious? Was a serial killer. It was all legal, though. Bill, is that real? Really? See, you could come up on some lineage like that.
This is crazy. I'm also still thinking about this network thing. So which reminds me to tell you also, when you're there tomorrow, tell the people.
I already know where you're
specifically Adam Johson, who has taken the mantle as king of empty promises. He took it from Chris Brooks. Don't simply refer to this as, we're here on ESPN Radio. We ain't ESPN Radio.
What's that say above you over there?
Oh, that old logo that we specifically try not to associate with ESPN Radio anymore.
Hey, I'm right here with you.
But when people just simply call this ESPN Radio, now that's national. That's the nonsense.
Oh,
not that this is local nonsense, but ESPN Radio is just what you refer to that national whoever's on there these days.
Well, that is true. Do you know what I thought your shirt just said? Seriously, I've been staring at it. I thought it said, I fell in love on a Subway.
Nope.
It's on a Sunday. What is that a reference to?
It's Weezer lyrics.
Oh, okay. Hey, we're brought to you by Gutter Masters, online at guttermastersllc.com. Learn more today. Protect your home with a custom gutter solution from Gutter Masters. And, of course, you can do that today by going to guttermastersllc.com, 601-503-7755. Back with more in just a bit.
This is the home of the Chuck Oliver Show every weekday from 10 till noon on Mississippi's live and local sports authority. And where? We're back to Jake Quiverly with the afternoon drive on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
We're brought to you by Bailey Lumber, open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Selections vary by store, limited on stock on hand. See store for complete details. Go to BaileyLumber.com to learn more information or swing in two locations, 2150 Mississippi Highway 471 in Brandon, 4525 John Lynch Street in Jackson. Great deals on GAF roofing specials, lumber, supplies, windows, hardware, and more. Go to BaileyLumber.com to learn more today. We're also brought to you by Ameristar Casino. Get out and play. 4 great restaurants on the property at Ameristar, from the Red Lotus on the bottom floor, just on the other side of the End Zone Sportsbook, on the other side of the property. And, of course, on the second floor, you got Bella's. Third floor, you got the Heritage Buffet and Bourbon's, the steakhouse on the roof. Don't forget about the Bottleneck on the weekend as well. All right, let me see here. Some other notes we got to chalk through here. We got 30 minutes we got to run. All right, so let me see if I've got a picture of this Aaron Rodgers. No, they don't show any photos of him. They just said he's jacked. And how jacked is Aaron Rodgers really? And my watch just gave me 12 results for Aaron Rodgers. Dolphins to meet with Tua Tagovailoa's agent during NFL Combine to discuss long-term extension. Tua is slated to become the next quarterback to receive a big payday. Tua may be joining the list of top-shelf quarterbacks who have recently received a massive contract extension. The Dolphins' general manager, Chris Greer, said Wednesday the team plans to speak with Tagovailoa's agent about an extension this week from the NFL Combine. Greer is, quote, hopeful to get a deal done this offseason, but added, these types of big extensions rarely come together quickly. The soon-to-be 26-year-old Tagovailoa is coming off his best season to date. He was named to his first Pro Bowl in 2023 after throwing for a league-high 4,624 yards. Tua also threw a career-high 29 touchdowns and led the Dolphins to an 11-6 record. Numbers aside, 2023 was a big year for Tua. From a health standpoint, he didn't miss a single game after multiple head injuries sidelined him for 4 games in 2022. Tagovailoa added muscle last offseason to help him endure the rigors of playing football, and it appears like the hard work paid off. So, Beeve, when you look at these numbers, said, would it be possible? What would a possible extension for Tua look like? He could very well be on his way to joining Patrick Mahomes as the only player with a contract that exceeds $300 million. Tagovailoa's current projected market value is 6 years, $302 million. It's about $50 million annually. Is he that good? Would you pay that for him? I mean, I like Tua. Don't get me wrong, but
I like him too, personally. But no, but that's the way it goes these days. All these quarterbacks who, doesn't matter if they deserve it or not, it's, well, whoever gets the next extension is going to get the most money we've ever seen. Pretty much.
Speaking of money, of course, with the combine going on, updated NFL mock draft. Caleb Williams still to the Bears, Drake May to the Commanders. Jalen Daniels to the Falcons. Let me see if I can get this Chevy. There we go. Ad off there. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Arizona Cardinals. Try to give Kyler Murray a big play threat. Malik Neighbors to the Chargers. Odunze, wide receiver to from Washington to the Giants. J.J. McCarthy, pick number 8. We have watched this man go from the top 20 now to 8 to the Patriots. Is he going to get in the top 5?
Yeah. Would not be surprised the way this is going. Told you, the Anthony Richardson scenario from last year. So number 8 to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Who was it? Someone just said yesterday on this here show, yesterday or Monday, that maybe if he goes to the Patriots, he's the same as Mac Jones.
Somebody, well, maybe it was Gator Matt. Somebody said that. Are you buying that?
Yep.
I'm going to come back to this Zach Wilson story. I'm going to go over to college real quick. Kirby Smart coaching tree. With Dick Saban out, now we start talking about the Kirby Smart coaching tree. How ex-Georgia assistants have fared after leaving for head coaching opportunities. So you got several guys that have done this. Now, the first one, Mel Tucker. Tucker served as a defensive coordinator on Smart's inaugural staff and stayed with the Bulldogs of Georgia through 2018 before becoming the first assistant of Smart's to move on to the ranks, though he's known for his time at Michigan State. Tucker was hired at Colorado in 2019, spent one season there with the Buffaloes, and guided them to a 5-7 season with 3 wins in the Pac-12, their most since 2016, before jumping ship after one season. The Spartans reached their peak under Tucker in 2021, capping a 10-2 regular season. But you know all the stuff that happened at Michigan State. I mean, on the field, Tucker, good coach. Off the field, it just has not worked out. Sam Pittman, Arkansas. Pittman had quite a reputation as an offensive line coach when he joined Smart's staff in 2016. But his time with the Bulldogs propelled him to his current position at Arkansas. So we know that he is on the hot seat this year. So right now you would say 2 guys off the Kirby Smart coaching tree are one, Tucker, off the field stuff and everything that went on with Michigan State flamed. Pittman is flaming. Shane Beamer, South Carolina, son of legendary head coach Frank Beamer. Shane Beamer coached tight ends and special teams from Georgia from 2016 to 17, left the Bulldogs in 2018 to take an assistant coaching job at Oklahoma, and remained there until 2021 when he was hired at then 43 years of age to become the head coach at South Carolina. I don't want to say he's on the hot seat, but is he on the hot seat? Shane Beamer, South Carolina.
I don't think this year. But after this year, if you're 4-8 this year, 5-7, then yes. But I think that a couple years ago, that Duke's Mayo Bowl, I don't know, I think that bought some time. The Mayo Bowl. Because they surrounded it with the big story with the mayonnaise drop and all that, and I think that got a lot of goodwill in South Carolina for him.
No, there's no doubt. Dan Lanning, Oregon, 100% success. Dan Lanning is the closest thing to Kirby Smart in football right now. You realize that? Did you know or even pay attention to Dan Lanning before he just destroyed Colorado verbally before they played? But that was a Kirby Smart speech. You realize that? That was a Kirby Smart speech. And Dan Lanning has turned Oregon into a machine. Now, they were already really good, but he has taken them even further. Do you know quietly they have as good a roster as Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State right now? They have my best quarterback on my list in Dylan Gabriel. They have guys that can fly. And you know they're going to go into the Big Ten and they're going to wear people out. Wear them out. I like Oregon to win the Big Ten. And I haven't picked a national champion, but I can tell you Oregon's right there. They're one of my last few teams as I go through this. They are scary good. You realize they lost by 6 points, 2 ball games, 6 points last year. Penix beat Oregon twice. I mean, he really did. And that's one of the things that they were susceptible to is, but there, how many Penixes were in football last year? Wasn't many. So they got diced up by Penix twice. But Dan Lanning and Oregon, they might would win the SEC this year. They're that good. As a matter of fact, if they were playing Georgia head up, I think it'd be almost an even game in Vegas today. Fran Brown, Syracuse, he's another guy that we'll see. I mean, New Jersey native, former Temple, Rutgers assistant, deep ties to the Northeast. That's why he's back at Syracuse. He was on Smart's staff 2022-2023. Defensive backs coach at Georgia. Now the head coach at Syracuse. We'll see what he does with Kyle McCord. Georgia State, Dale McGee. He just took that job. And that is the Kirby Smart coaching tree. So you got some failures, you got some success, like all coaching trees out there. But Dan Lanning is definitely the top guy. We are brought to you by Wint McGee. He is the mortgage man. Online at mortgagemanms.com. Learn more today. Go to mortgagemanms.com. The Bank of England Mortgage, a century of American stability. Let them help you with rates, loans, the rate process, all the knowledge you need. Go to mortgagemanms.com. Timeout on the floor. One more segment to go on a Wednesday. Back in a bit.
And action!
We got that and a whole lot more around here. It's the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly.
What's the score?
He's got that, along with the hottest sports stories of the day on ESPN 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
Brought to you by Mac Hike, Madison, Gluckstadt. Go to MacHikeMadison.com. Learn more today. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chevy in Madison, Gluckstadt. New used inventory as you move through the rest of the month, which is like 2 days. Truck month, of course, a lot of great deals. A lot of inventory. I was up there earlier this week. Great inventory at Mac Hike Madison. Go to MacHikeMadison.com. We're also brought to you by Premier Plastic Surgery. Guys, let Dr. Erica Bass help you out, get you back right, and get you on your way. 601-981-2525. Appreciate Michael Bratton jumping in, also Adam Johson and Rafael Esparza. Tomorrow, no show, but we're going to have a lot of basketball. Basketball, 2 games tomorrow. Gosh. Several games on Friday, several games on Saturday. So we got you covered up. 6 tomorrow, or Friday? 6 Friday, 6 Saturday, is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Jim Mattress Mac, Mackinville. It's placed $1 million bet on Houston to win the NCAA tournament. A Cougars national championship would pay him $7.5 million. He got him at 7.5 to 1. But he put $1 million on him. What do you think?
History's not good.
Stay away from Houston. Stay away from Houston. Yeah, Mattress Mac has not done a great job in the gambling space. I got more McCarthy stuff. I'm going to stay away from that, though. I'm tired of talking to J.J. McCarthy. Do you see Tom Brady reportedly believes that Giselle was cheating on him years ago? What made him think this? Now, why is he coming out? Is this jaded love? Just I got to get it off my chest or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I saw that earlier, but I didn't see why he's coming out and saying it now. And it seemed, I do remember when it first came out that she was dating this jiu-jitsu guy, and it was extremely close to their, divorce date. And I remember the very second I read that thinking, she was cheating on him before with this guy. That's too close. That timeline is... That's close.
Chip Patterson with CBSSports.com has given his college football playoff bracket. He gives Liberty the 12th seed, winning the Conference USA. And a lot of people are going to pick Liberty Conference USA. Look, Liberty should be the best group of 5 team. I mean, I know Memphis is going to try to stake a claim to that, and they could. I know South Florida will. Boise to some degree, but it's probably going to be Liberty. He has them playing number 5 Oregon on the road. Winner advances to play number 4 Utah. That means he'd have Utah winning the Big 12. He has Ole Miss as a 11 seed, playing at Texas as a 6 seed. Winner would play Clemson as a 3 seed. So he has Clemson winning the ACC. This is already South. Clemson is not winning the ACC this year. Notre Dame is a 10 seed at Michigan, number 7. Michigan's not going to make the playoff, by the way. Winner will play number 2 Ohio State, number 9 Penn State at number 8 Alabama. Bama's not going to make the playoff either. Taking on Georgia. So his breakdown: Georgia SEC champion at 1, Ohio State Big Ten champion 2, Clemson ACC champion 3, Utah Big 12 champion, Oregon at large, Texas at large. Down the road we go. My watch just gave me an SEC championship score: Alabama 27, Georgia 24. For whatever it's worth. And so that's his play. I will tell you this. Michigan, as much as I was on Michigan last year, I'm telling you Michigan will not make the playoff this year. Their schedule is too tough. It's way too much going on, much like Alabama. Just not going to make it. Possum Neck Joe. Leap year. Yes. Yes, Joe, it is leap year. Do you have any data or cool facts with leap year? Anything interesting happen in your life over leap years? How many have you had? Like 2 in your life? I don't remember when the last one was. Do you?
4 years ago.
Oh, was it 4 years ago? Did anything interesting happen then?
Nope.
Always like to leave you with good stories. New mystery fungi, species deemed potentially harmful to humans, has been identified. Several newly discovered species of fungi that are potentially harmful to humans could become airborne during periods of droughts. As if we didn't have enough to worry about with the bubonic plague making a return, the zombie virus, and all this other stuff. According to new research recently published in the Journal of Fungi, the Mycology and Environmental Microbiology unit of the Universitat Rovira. Man, this is a lot of words. Has identified new species of fungi that may cause infections and diseases in people and animals. As there have been studies, very little so far, that what we are doing, quote, in the project that is not extending the knowledge base about the species found in these sediments, but also determining patterns of biodiversity that indicate whether the ecosystem is healthy or, if, to the contrary, the problems of pollution from a variety of sources. But with droughts come the spread of fungi. So, Beaver, don't stay in places of drought. Dexter, Clemson, no way, those days are gone. When you don't make changes, you get left behind. Yeah, and Clemson's absolutely getting left behind. Again, they don't do the transfer portal. They don't even believe in it. And that's fine if that's where Dabo wants to be. But since he lost Tony Elliott to Virginia, who was his offensive coordinator, and he lost Brent Venables to Oklahoma, I mean, Clemson's been a nice team, nicer than Maryland. Clemson's not scaring anybody, and they'll have every shot to get this thing right, taking on Georgia week 1. Churro, more people get pregnant on February 29th than Valentine's Day. Stay safe, Kings. Is this a real stat? Since it is Fire Hips Wednesday, and if you wonder where Fire Hips come from, hey, that was just a breakdown of J.J. McCarthy's game. One football scout said he has fire hips. So we're going to go with fire hips and breaking down quarterbacks from now on. No doubt, fire hips. Is true. That, even if it's not real, Churro, we're going to go with that. Do you have any statistical information on this?
No. These are all like just real facts about babies born and all this stuff. So, no, we're going to go with that, though. I'm never going to question Churro. Never have, never will.
No, I'm not going to question him either. I'm not going to question. Let's see if we got any other news here before we get out of here. Looking through, let's see. Missouri claims they are the 2010 Big 12 North champions, while Texas A&M claims they are the Big 12 South champions. What's surprising when the Big 12 championship game was between Oklahoma and Nebraska. This is some stuff on just talking season. A lot of talking season. Of course, you got college basketball coming up this weekend. You got a big one coming up tonight. If you look at the schedule, you got Tennessee and Auburn tonight. And right now, Florida, Missouri are underway. And Florida's on top 19-13. 19-13. And when you look the rest of the way, you got three other games today. Auburn, Tennessee, that's going to be on ESPN2. South Carolina at Texas A&M SEC Network at 7:30. And then Alabama at Ole Miss, of course. That'll be the late game, 8 o'clock, ESPN2 in Oxford. Big game tonight there. And then when you move forward to Saturday, you got, of course, the whole list of games. Florida at South Carolina. That's going to be on ESPN. That'll be an 11 o'clock tip. Arkansas at Kentucky on CBS. LSU Vanderbilt on the SEC Network at 2:30. Mississippi State at Auburn on ESPN2. Texas A&M Georgia, SEC Network at 5 o'clock. Tennessee at Alabama. That'll be another good one. Vols Tide on ESPN. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip. Ole Miss at Missouri. That's a game they've got to go get. The real Eric. How do people born on February 29th celebrate their birthday on non-leap years? Beaver, I guess you'd have to pick a day, wouldn't you? Would you just follow that back to February 28th, or do you just become a March 1st baby? What would you do? If you were born on February 29th, when would you celebrate your birthday on leap years? Non-leap years.
It's 29th. If my birthday's on the 29th, then give me the 29th. I only get it every 4 years, so what? I'm 10.
I like it. I like what you did there. Remember, ketchup is king, bacon's a delicacy, aloha means goodbye. Be a man of increase. Watch those fire hips out there. Good night.
Here we go. This is WRKS Pickens Jackson. 1, 2, 3, go. The 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. Streaming live worldwide at thezone1059.com and on your radio. This is it. ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All them dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbells and swamp, the Aggies wrong. There's nothing like the SEC. The weekend's full of surprises. From Williams Place to Death Valley. On the Five Mom Show, Paul's on the road. If he don't get the best of me,
Where's Paul? Where's Paul? Hell, I don't know.
Coach Paul Five. Kneeling's up on Rocky Top. The Razorbacks are hard to stop. War Eagles soaring in the wind.
Let me talk, Tammy. Okay, go.
Tigers rocking in Missoula. Wildcats are grinning too. Talk about the tide that's rolling in. The weekend's full of surprises.
How you doing here, Paul?
Big upsets to rivalries. On the Five Mom Show, heads are gonna roll. If they don't get the best of me, we'll call Paul. Can't make sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul. Can't make sense of it all.
I'm hearing your theme song in my head when I wake up.
I might call you 2, 3, 4, 5 times for the day over with.
And we are back, and it's always great as we begin the second half of our program, to welcome back to the program Coach Carl Reed from 24/7, one of the most sought-after voices in this platform, to get his take. Coach, always good to see you. Can't wait to dig in. Thank you very, very much. And I want to start with the after effects of this NCAA ruling, essentially saying it's okay to do what everybody already thought it was okay to do, and that was pay out NIL money. Good afternoon.
Well, Paul, what that rule did is it just basically put everybody on an equal playing field, because you had some coaches that were doing it anyway, but you have a few guys that are trying to play by what the rules were, and now they've taken the gloves completely off. So now it's an opportunity for everybody to get really active in the NIL space.
So if you're one of those coaches, how does it affect what you do now that nobody's going to stop you?
Well, you have to get active with your collective. You have to decide who's going to get paid what, how much they're going to get paid, and what kind of scale are you going to use. It's very similar to an NFL model. You have to have some type of structure. How much money are you going to put forth from your collective for the offensive line? How bad do you need a quarterback? What does the defensive line get? And now it's going to put coaches in a position where they don't feel as handcuffed because they're allowed to be a part of it and nobody is going to enforce it.
Coach, we both know, you know better than anyone, how difficult it is to be a coach at this level. But there's a lot of, I'd say it's a narrative. I don't know if it's false or not. I tend to think it may be overdone, that coaches are fleeing college football as head coaches. We had the situation with Chip Kelly. We've had some coaches go back to the NFL. Do you think coaches are running away from college football right now?
The bad narrative about it right now is everybody's making it seem like coaches are running away because transfer portal in the NIL. Coaches have been trying to get into the National Football League since we got the early signing period, and the recruiting window shifted because of the schedule being completely out of whack. Now you're having to do official visits in the spring. You still have junior days. You have recruiting camps all summer. The college recruiting calendar has gotten so far out of hand. That was the real reason why coaches started running to the National Football League. It wasn't because of the transfer portal, and it wasn't because of NIL, even though those are the latest things that makes it even more difficult to recruit now. But it started a while ago with the way the recruiting calendar was being handled.
Coaches, we're in the process of changing that calendar. I know you've seen all the proposals, and some of them are about to be enacted if they haven't already. What is the best way to do this?
The best way to do this is for us. I saw a report today where they're talking about going to 3 signing periods. Now they're talking about putting one in June, December, and February. The best way to handle this is to go back to the way it was. 1 signing period in February. If they put a signing period in June, Paul, remember that I told you this, it's going to be catastrophic, and it's going to multiply the chaos. Do you know how much coaching turnover you're going to have from June through December when you start talking about the course of a football season? New coaches are going to come in and they're going to drop and cut bait with guys that are signed. Guys that signed in June are going to want out of the national letter of intent. They're going to want to move to new schools, even if they have to use the transfer portal to do so. That would be a catastrophic move. And if I was advising a big-time college football prospect, there would be absolutely no way I would let them sign a national letter of intent in the month of June.
We're talking to the coach, and certainly a lot of big issues going out there. Let me do something that we rarely get a chance to do nowadays, Coach, and that's get to the practice field and get ready for the upcoming season. You've seen everything that has happened. There's still a few more changes to be made with the next transfer portal window, but who are you high on this year as we get ready for the college football season?
I'm really high on the University of Georgia, and that could be an easy pick. I think that Kirby Smart and his program had a really bad taste of their mouth when they were kicked out of the playoffs last year at the last minute after winning all of those games in a row. They're going to be as motivated as ever. Carson Beck is going to be a Heisman candidate going into the season. I look for the Georgia Bulldogs to be the heavy favorite. I'm really excited about them. I'm really excited about what Lane Kiffin has done at Ole Miss, the way that he's rebuilt his defense, some of the key recruits that he has, and it seems like Ole Miss is pushing all of their chips into the middle of the table. So coming from the SEC, I'm really excited about those two.
Let me ask you about the one that everybody's curious about, and that's Alabama under Kalen DeBoer. What do you see there?
Well, anytime you lose a coach like Nick Saban, who has been the greatest coach of our generation, there's going to be some change, and you have to adjust to that. A lot of people from the South don't really know Kalen DeBoer, but Kalen DeBoer has been one of the best football coaches at any level for a really long time. Back when he was an NAIA coach and he won 4 national championships, high school coaches from all over the country were going into Iowa to study offense with Kalen DeBoer. I think he's going to do a good job at the University of Alabama. Is he going to win 7 national championships? I mean, nobody else has done that, Paul, except for one guy.
Listen, I agree with you, and I think everyone also agrees of what he's done. But what is his biggest challenge at Alabama other than succeeding Nick Saban?
His biggest challenge at Alabama is going to be the following things. It's going to be, number one, the hostility of the fans when you don't have success. When you lose a game, the way that the fan base can turn on you, on the pressure cooker that program and that environment is. Everything at a place like Washington is something new. Alabama expectation is national championship or bust. Number two, recruiting in the South is extremely different. The relationships that you have, the gatekeepers that are in control of a lot of the players, the high school coaches, the 7-on-7 coaches, is really an environment like most people don't know how to handle until they learn and understand how to deal with it. And the third thing is navigating the NIL space. Alabama, under the Saban era at the end, was not as competitive with some of the schools that were spending a lot of money on NIL. That's something that has to be fluid and continue to get worked out at the University of Alabama.
We've talked about a couple of schools you're high on. Let's keep this within the SEC just for the time being. Which schools are you most concerned about this upcoming season?
I'm the most concerned right now about the Florida Gators. The Florida Gators have struggled a lot, and I think that Billy Napier, the struggle that they're having down there is that they have not been able to get NIL going, and it's been catastrophic for them in recruiting. They don't have the depth. They don't have the talent that you see from the typical Florida Gators team. I think that Billy Napier was a strong hire at the time, but when athletic directors, search firm committee people, when you're looking at these jobs now, fundraising and being able to get your collective going is a huge part of the process, and they have not figured that out yet in Gainesville. So that's something that would be concerning to me going into this season from the SEC, the Florida Gators.
Coach Reed never disappoints. Thank you so much, Coach. It's great to visit with you. Nobody's better. We'll take a break. A lot to unpack the rest of the way. Ron Slay next hour on tonight's college basketball matchups, including one particular one in Knoxville. We are coming right back.
Are you tired of looking at your old, grimy, and mildewy bathtub? Looking to replace it with a beautiful walk-in shower, but cash is tight? For as little as $89 a month, no payments for 12 months for consumers who qualify. Remodeling Loans can put you into a beautiful new walk-in shower in as little as 1 day. You can rest easy knowing that Remodeling Loans, a network of certified contractors, screened and handpicked by us, offers premier products, top-rated service, and value, increasing the beauty, safety, and value of your home. A new walk-in shower will also provide you with a germ-free, slip-resistant, safe, and beautiful new bathroom. Call 800-921-1403 and take advantage of our holiday special of free installation. Our agents are standing by, ready to schedule your appointment with our design team at no cost and no obligation to you. All callers will receive a free upgrade of premium colors just for calling today. A beautiful new walk-in shower is now within reach. Call 800-921-1403. That's 800-921-1403.
Step in with a family that knows your name at Mississippi Legends Grill, located on the corner of Castlewoods Drive and Highway 25 in Flowood. Mississippi Legends Grill's got you teed up every day with something new, from trivia, bingo, kids eat free on Thursdays, lunch specials, a ball game on one of their 17 television, bourbon nights, the casual outing, and more. Mississippi Legends Grill has you covered 7 ways from Sunday. Find them on Facebook.com/Mississippi Legends Grill to get the daily lunch special, or swing in and have dinner in the afternoon. Family-friendly atmosphere where everyone knows your name. Mississippi Legends Grill.